So our first question comes from Gabriel Brito. How do you think you can represent Fusion best in the Alianza space?
So the part that I like best about Alianza is that I feel that Fusion members share a lot of common ground with Alianza members because all of our clubs have such similar programs and attract a lot of the same, or a lot of people in these clubs are looking for the same thing. But despite that, we all carry our own unique identities and we all have our own unique club cultures and such. So I think the presence I want to have in Alianza is, well, I mean, kind of by the nature of the club, is relating to our majors and our professions, as my goal in Fusion has always been to represent Fusion as a strong professional org that accelerates its members towards their desired career path. So with Alianza, I do want to maintain the existing framework we've had of having great social collaborations, but I also want to ensure that we have proper visibility on our internal programs that promote our science and engineering culture and professionalism. So I guess one way that I want to improve this based on past experiences is PACE, which if you're not familiar was a program we had last year, which stands for the Phil Connects American Career Expo, which I helped organize on behalf of Fusion, which was essentially a networking dinner night with all four Alianza perks. And I believe that this was a great opportunity for Alianza members to connect more about each other's career paths, and I think it was a great chance for Fusion to show off our network and our alumni and the skills that our members have. So unfortunately, it's not happening this year, but as EVP next year, that'll be a big priority for me, and I think that contributes to my overall goal of representing Fusion within Alianza.
So our next question also comes from Gabriel Brito. What major changes would you bring in a professional way for Fusion as EVP?
So I can't say as much of changes because admittedly I feel a lot of the current professional development programs are programs that I helped initiate or helped advise. But the main one I can think of is what I mentioned of the industry mentorship system, because I feel a lot of our current collaborations that are related to professional development have all been through companies, the UCP, and internal workshops and such. But I think what's missing is a lot more one-on-one connections. So I found that a lot of times, of course, mentorship system exists. Like our existing mentorship system can help a lot, but if they happen to not have a mentor who isn't like industry aligned with them or career path aligned, then it can be hard to find upperclassmen that are willing to help provide advice for underclassmen. So I found in the past, when talking to underclassmen that want professional advice, I find myself directing them to that, which is why I got the inspiration for the industry mentorship system in the first place. So that's, yeah, I want to focus more on individual connections and making use of our alumni network.
So our next question comes from Anonymous. How do you plan to strengthen bonds with the other Alianza organizations and improve conjoining programs? Tagalog program, Alianza collabs, joint workshops.
So I know that probably overlaps a lot with my answer previously about what Alianza means to me and why I'm excited to collaborate with it. But my answer from then still applies. I want to ensure that Fusion is still active within the Alianza space and we represent ourselves accurately to them. But another side note I want to make is that I feel like there's a lot of room to grow for Fusion utilizing our own skills to benefit Alianza. For example, a program I haven't quite had the chance to announce yet is that I'm working with Hacking Board right now to develop the Hacking website. So for opportunities like that and similar, I think there's a lot of opportunities for Fusion to be more involved. And of course, I want to build on the current programs that existed, like the Alianza Collab program and other initiatives. And while I was not on the Alianza board this year, so I can't say I've been involved with those directly, I have worked with Alianza before, as mentioned, with the Hack website and PACE. So I'd still be very excited to contribute.
Our next question comes from Arvin. As EVP, you help set the bar for Fusion's political involvement, for example, on a client. Where do you think Fusion lies in this?
So I do want to preface this by saying I'm personally not an expert. But I am very supportive of what Client is doing, and I think that it's really great that Fusion is becoming more involved with this, especially with the talks we've been having with other members of the Commandant Alliance. So my goal would be to provide those members a platform to help educate Fusion members, and whenever I can, stepping in to involve Fusion on a great level.
This question comes from Kai. With the inception of a new project, it's common for it to die off without continued interest and passion. With the Fusion Industrial Mentorship Program, even after your time as EVP, how do you plan on retaining interest and continual success of this project?
Yes, so that is a valid question. I do believe, I very much agree that programs that all the programs at Fusion that are successful and impactful long term are the ones that become tradition and actually part of what members come to expect from Fusion. So the reason that I personally don't have that as a concern for the industry mentorship program is because it's already a pattern I've seen a lot in Fusion, and this is me just trying to formalize it and provide a structure with it. So we've already seen a lot of times where members will reach out to alumni through LinkedIn and such, or upperclassmen will say, oh wait, your career just sounds really similar to this person who graduated. Okay, I'll give you that. So I believe that if that is already a pattern that I've seen a lot, I think that with the industry mentorship system, there would be interest in continuing it further on, because as those connections form and as people see it successful, it's going to become an expectation that that's a program that Fusion provides. And our extensive alumni network, as people that were in that program graduate, I hope that they also keep on being involved with Fusion and strengthening our alumni network as a whole.
Our next question comes from Matthew Fitzpatrick. How do you plan to change Fusion's presence in the Engineering Student Council or as an engineering student organization?
Yes. So as mentioned earlier, we are an engineering student organization, but I feel that we haven't had too much direct involvement with that. I do know that Fusion is going to be represented at the ESO basketball game, so I think that that is a good start. But I do feel that part of the issue has been, it's often been on the engineering project directors to help connect Fusion with that. For example, when the engineering student organizations were boothing, they didn't have much support from the rest of the board. It was mainly upon if the engineering project directors had the capacity for that, but they were already quite busy. So I think as EVP, I want to take a more hands-on role with those connections and not have it be reliant on the engineering project directors, but also being able to, or for me as EVP to help initiate those conversations and have execution be done in addition with the engineering project directors, instead of it being entirely up to them.
As Fusion gains more projects, how would you plan on using your role to leverage more funding from companies?
So this has been a big area of interest for me since my first year of getting Fusion more involved with corporations, but there are natural limitations to that, and as much as I've tried in the past few years, we have kept sponsorship for our projects relatively small. I believe that where there's the most opportunity is for sponsorship within specific materials rather than funding as a whole. Because the issue with sponsorship from companies is that, well, without getting too into it, there's a lot of logistics behind the scenes that Fusion, and a lot of requirements that Fusion can't quite meet due to the nature of organization. But where we do have potential is working with companies for specific items. For example, engineering project, like, okay, I'm not an engineer, but specific parts, there are opportunities there for specific companies to sponsor those parts. And for ICS, which I'm familiar with, for example, API credits, even if we can't get the ICS project as a whole sponsored, we can work with specific companies to get access to their technology and get credits to use those technologies.
This next question comes from Anonymous. Critique the current position holder.
Yes, so of course I have a lot of respect for Arvin and what he's built over in Fusion within the past few years. So personally, I believe that, in my experience, this is the closest that I feel Ions has ever been, and I feel with Arvin on executive board, Fusion is so extremely stable and enjoyable. But where I see opportunity for growth is what I mentioned before, of continuing our growth in industry and STEM spaces on campus, because I believe that this is a goal that we both share together. However, it is very hard to make a dramatic change in that direction in just a single year. So as EVP, I want to continue building on his vision and leverage my background as previous networking director and ICS project director to continue moving in that direction.
This next question comes from Arvin. What goals do you have to cater to minority represented majors within Fusion? What connections, programs, resources do you want to push?
So I'd like to introduce you to the Fusion Project Incubator. I didn't talk about it this week in internals because I do want to give some time for our existing projects to breathe. But essentially my idea is very much inspired by what has been happening with FACE and ERP in recently or this year, where I have felt that's a big issue that a lot of majors aren't represented fully by FEP or FIP. A lot of people just do them because it's like the project that we offer, even if it's not something that's directly relevant to them. So I want to provide a platform for members to bring their own ideas to Fusion. Or if you do have a lot of ideas, you do have motivation, and you have an industry that you're interested in that's not represented by Fusion, you can come to us and we can help you give a platform and structure for it. So that's what the idea for the Fusion Project Incubator is, and I hope that you can increase member attention and give everyone a space in the club, even if heaven forbid it wasn't the space.
This is your last question. Really think about it. This comes from Anonymous. What is your 1 in a million B2B SaaS GPT wrapper startup that will get you accepted into Y Combinator?
So that's a really good question, but I think first we should circle back on that and want some stakeholder values and like move that downstream. We could even take that offline. So like let's just wrap it up and maybe schedule an app.